Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. You watching Contact? You can thank him, man. Let's fucking go. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. 24/7 researching, it's all a fantasy. But if I make the right plays, it pays automatically. Bankroll showing that I know it goes strategy. On a winning streak, I'm stacking a dose of the bookies, all get mad at me. Confident with how it plays, not clicking on a flex today. 10 times the money, and we all about to get paid. Eric and Josh on the stream, they be killing it. Never gonna stop it, I like if you feeling it. Digging the players, they all never time. You can't make up your mind and just go with your gut. Fantasizing Sasha Cloud, Gabby Williams said watch your mouth. Day 1 and day 2, I play the over, they come through. Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, pick them both, we stacking them. Going big to the maximum, just push them if we cashing them. Let's fucking go, we about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. You watching Contact? You can thank him, man. Let's fucking go. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. We about to go big.
This is the game.
You watching Contact?
Let's get hunting.
You can thank him, man. Let's fucking go. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks.
All right, we are live. What is up, fam? New intro song, underrated, made. Definitely check out his YouTube. If you're in the comments section, underrated, post it there. We'll get a new graphic video for it. But yeah, we're gonna still play the other song, but put it on the outro, the original intro.
What
yeah,
the
what's
freak,
up, guys? It's Tuesday, June 28th. We have a 2-game WNBA slate today, and joined by our usual boy Eric. How you doing, Eric?
Yo,
Not bad. What's up, Gun? I see you in here too.
Wait, can y'all hear me?
Oh yeah, we gotta hit the pause for that real fast.
Can y'all hear me? Hello.
Yeah, you look like Nick Merckx.
Yeah, I do. Bro, that song was insane. Yo, shout out to Underrated, bro. That was lit. That was lit.
It was so good, man. I waited to listen to the first time just now with the crew.
Yeah, that was the first time. That was so sick.
All right, well, I'm gonna get out you boys' way, but I had to show them some props, so that was pretty wild.
We got to get some good graphics to go with it. I just put a stock video because I had to put it together like in 5 minutes.
Yeah. I'll work on that. Yo, shout out to Underrated. Everybody click on his name in chat. Go follow him. That was pretty awesome. All right, boys, kill it. I'll catch you later.
All right, bro.
Peace, dude.
All right, yeah. So catching up, Eric. Yesterday would have been a perfect day for all our core pieces and our process if we could have got one more rebound out of Katie, right? And I think a lot of people were on a lot of her props, like her PRA, especially, and obviously her rebound. So that was a letdown.
Yeah, man, so close to a perfect night there. I think honestly that early foul trouble she got into and lost just that little bit of run there, plus having Chene come back for us from injury, just barely missed out on that. I felt more comfortable with the rebounding though than any of her other props. And if we missed by one, hey, the process was so close.
I agree. I mean, and then Sykes decided to go like Russell Westbrook mode and just hustle her tail off the entire second half. Did nothing the first half. And then, just snagged all the rebounds. So what are you going to do with that? I mean, it was the right process, but hopefully today we can continue that process breakdown and narrow in on some key props. We've been talking about it all day long on our Discord community, which is, if you're not part of it, it's free in the link below. But all day we talked about how the landscape of WNBA prop betting is changing, especially for PrizePicks. They are really adjusting the lines now and really focusing on it, and they're adjusting them live, like on the go throughout the day. So it's something you have to just monitor. We're going to have to really navigate through this whole new process and how we're going to attack props. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, they're definitely being a lot more sharp on the props here. I mean, adjusted lines numerous times yesterday. Um, Basically, as soon as I even drop my video, all the lines change, and I'm just like, well, we're going to end up covering all this stuff live. It seems like they have, I guess, someone new working behind the scenes now, and we've noticed a couple of things on there. Hitting on that a little bit more in the Discord, more so behind the scenes, but it's one thing I'll say, if you guys got any kind of gut calls, or if you see a prop that you like when it's first drop and you want to get some kind of action on it, go ahead and make some 2 picks. Make a couple of 3 picks here. Just get some kind of action on any of these early leans, because we saw a lot of our favorite plays yesterday just fly off the board and change immediately right after we talked about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll go into that. Yeah, pretty much every prop changed from its opening line. What I've noticed, maybe there's like one or two that stayed the same for some players, but yeah, major adjustments throughout the day. Yeah, since we're starting a little late, and we have the normal 7 p.m. start time, we can just get into it. Before I do, which catch up on news and briefly catch up with chat. Do we have any update on Atlanta? Because Atlanta is the biggest like missing pieces that we're waiting on news because it's holding up price picks dropping props on the board.
Yeah, it looks like Nia Coffee is going to remain out for today, but Kia Vaughn is listed now as probable. I think that we'll just have Coffee out, and the other relevant pieces will be back to their usual duty.
Oh,
Um,
is Christie out of concussion protocol?
there hasn't been for Wallace. She hasn't been any kind of updated yet for that, but we should have the report by now. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I'm actually trying to see if Atlanta's Twitter, if they have anything going on there, give us some kind of inkling.
Yeah, because I mean, we still only have Rin and Parker props on the board for Atlanta, so Atlanta will be quick. But I think that Christie news will be key because she could soak up a lot of threes, maybe take the load off of Rin somewhat, because I think we've talked about a lot in Discord and our analysis that the way Washington has approached Rin in the last 2 games they played this season, especially towards the end, they just started really trapping her and blitzing her. So if Chrissy's out, I mean, it's going to put even more pressure on Rin to, take a lot of the threes and just try to get it done. Besides, McDonald obviously trying to create shots too and play make. So let's watch out for that. But yeah, let's start with Rin, since that's one of the props we have for Atlanta so far. They opened her point prop at 16.5, and now it's down to 15.5, which I think matches FanDuel's lines as her point lines too on their sports books. We talked about going under on one of her props because of the matchup, like we just talked about. And yeah, I mean, just having no one else to really help her out besides, Parker McDonald. Which one are you leaning towards, or are you just going to completely fade her? I was thinking points, even though it went down to 15.5. I could still get behind that, but I know we talked about fantasy as well.
Yeah, I think honestly, either the points, or I actually was eyeing her rebound for the under
Yeah,
today as well.
sure.
There's this is going to be kind of a tricky matchup there, with Atlanta being on the road here and Washington at home. Washington plays a really tight pace, so Atlanta being one of the league leaders in pace, they're not getting any kind of benefit here from Washington side of things. And I think that the starting unit's definitely going to play a huge factor in one, if PrizePicks is going to adjust any props after, because that's what they seem to do. Is any kind of official news drops, then they make adjustments. So we could even see softer lines closer to lock here if the field is betting on unders here to open with, and then we get players ruled back in. It could create an interesting situation for us, but I feel pretty comfortable with her coming off of some of these just really crazy stock games. You could either go with her points or her rebounds. I don't want her to luck out and the stock category save her from an inefficient scoring night.
I agree. My only concern, and I'm with you on the rebounds. It's not a great spot for rebounding here for because Washington. I mean, they're just all around solid unit, and especially with Donnie back playing to pick up some boards. Totally get it. But the only concern I have is with rebounding. It's so much variance, and they can just run into rebounds by accident or by random chance. And with Nia Coffee being out, does that make you concerned at all? Because she counts for a lot of rebounds. That last
There,
matchup they had earlier this year, Coffee had 10 rebounds, and then the most recent matchup, Coffee had 5.
there is, I think, some risk still with having Coffee out. Um, combination of Coffee being out and Parker being into some early foul trouble as well. That's led the team just to kind of sub in Billings a little bit here and then go with some of the secondary pieces off the bench just for that short filler. So, I mean, there is definitely a risk here. Me me personally, I like it just for the huge pace down spot that Atlanta's going to be receiving on this. And we actually saw Ren get into a little bit of foul trouble in the early half of last game too. So if some of the other key pieces are going to be out that could help her with the scoring side of things, we know that Washington is going to play that tight clamp down defense on her specifically. So if she doesn't get any kind of opportunity to just really do anything this game, we could just see her, be out there in the corner just trying to hold somebody off and let her teammates do something. There's a lot of variance here, but I kind of like going with our narrative of Atlanta being on the road here that we're going to get a fairly underwhelming performance all in all.
Totally agree. I mean, if everything played out correctly, it should be another blowout like we saw recently in this matchup where Washington won 70-50. The first time they met, it was a closer game, and Rin was very productive on offense. She was 4 of 8 from 3. But I want one key thing to point out here. This is something I've been noticing. Donnie didn't play in this game, and if you look at the stats with Donnie in and out for Washington, it's a huge difference in their defensive rating and the amount of points allowed per game. It's like almost it's like an 8 to 10 point differential when she's not playing. They just allow significantly more points on defense when she's out. And then when you see when Donnie played in the most recent game, Rin just shot terrible. I'm not saying this is all due to Donnie. It's just, I just think the Washington unit plays so much better with Donnie offensively and defensively. So it supports unders even more so with that said, with Donnie playing and Donnie looking more healthy now, especially that most recent game she played in. So I can get behind it. Either her going under on the rebounds or her 15.5 points. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that concerns me for the fantasy, it is high, but she can rack up stocks, and we know Cloud and Atkins are very turnover prone. So I'm probably just gonna maybe just do 1A, 1B with their rebound and her points.
Yeah, I like that.
We're gonna
Another
say
thing
Prince.
I was just going to say real fast. Another thing that I noticed too from the two previous meetings, regardless of Donnie being in there, Rin is going to see the majority of Atkins on the other side, and we know that Atkins is primarily a 3-ball defender or 3-ball guard here. So she was actually holding Rin to the 3-point line. I would say probably 60% of their offensive plays. So if Rin was really doing anything productive, it was going to be mostly on the defensive side. And we saw also that kind of correlate with her assists going up too, them clamping down so hard on her. She's having to get the ball out of her hands so fast. The games that Donnie is in, they were able to actually meet her at the 3-point line. So she wasn't getting that, aggressive up to the line pace that she was having on a lot of the fast breaks. There was usually somebody there to greet her. And that's something that Washington, I think, really got burned on in the first game. even though they smacked them down. But in the second game, with all their pieces back, and now Donnie being back to, I would say, probably 95% health, it's going to be really, really tough.
For sure, for sure. Well, let me throw this proposition out for the crew and you. If you wanted to go, and I'm not saying this is like a core play or idea. It's just an idea to throw out because I don't really want much exposure to Atlanta today. But let's say you went under on Rin's rebound. A positive correlation would be to go over on Parker's rebound. What's your thoughts on that? Is that too risky? I mean, I just think with Coffee out and this total being so low, there's going to be a lot of bricks on both sides. So what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. The correlation there is definitely good, and we saw that Parker was with these other pieces out. Her rebounding prop was all the way up to 7. So now we're kind of getting, maybe an overcorrection on Prize Picks part here, and that's something that we've actually had in our favor a lot more recently after these games, or 2 games here where a player prop in the field is being bet really high and it misses and it burns the field. Prize Picks will almost overcompensate way more than they need to right now, and this could be another time for us. I think we have a lot of rebound props that are going to be kind of hitting on this today that we'll go over, but this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I like the idea. It's definitely mid tier because it's right there on the edge with her. I mean, in both games she played against Washington, Parker cleared this 5.5, but just by a slim margin. So it's just if you want more exposure, you need more pieces since we're on a 2-game slate. Let's say that Christie is out. Would you want any McDonald props? Or are you just going to fade Atlanta altogether outside of the ones we went over?
I'll probably take it fairly light. I do see that somebody tweeted on their injury report that it looks like Wheeler and Wallace should be back for this one.
Oh wow, that okay. But Wheeler, I mean, she hasn't played in so long, so it's gonna definitely be a minute limit.
Yeah, for sure. And that was a pretty substantial injury, so they're not going to overdo it. But
Okay.
we'll find more confirmation. This will be our first game, so we'll have all the news before lock.
So you said Wheeler and Wallace are playing?
Yeah, look, that's what somebody was tweeting.
I imagine that the spread's going to change a little bit. I mean, it's still laying on the road, but I imagine it could go down to 7 or 6.5. Right now, the spread's at -8 in favor of Washington. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's so many moving pieces, and with WNBA, they released the news so late that I just don't think you have time to process and add it to your core strategy plan. So I might just fade altogether. Besides the ones we talked about.
Yeah, definitely. If we're going to get a lot of last minute news, just save your money. The taco is going to be for. It looks like Atkins real points, so that might be the only exposure I'm really getting there.
Okay, well let's dive into Washington then, and then after we cover that, we'll catch up with chat as people are trickling in. What's the taco?
It looks like it's going to be Atkins real points.
Down to 11, 10.5.
Let's see. Yeah, 10.5.
Okay.
I'm still frustrated about our opening lines that we got. So if y'all didn't see, they opened with, I think Atkins was at 12 or 12.5, and then Dawn, she was at sub 15 or right at 15, and then they over adjusted everything, and now we're seeing the tacos, which I don't know why the public would vote on that anyways. Like, they're so stupid, just to be honest. The other 2 tacos were already, or the other 2 options were already at their corrected ones, but PrizePicks kind of messed up, dropped the other 2, and then corrected them, and then dropped the taco voting for just those. So a little shady there.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. confidence level on this taco. I would say 80% for me. I think the main concern would be a blowout like we saw recently, where all the starters played real minimal minutes relative to what they normally play. She ended up playing 22 minutes and finished with 10 points. And Donnie dominated the shot volume in that limited time for the starters. I think that's the one range of outcome that would raise some concern. So that would make me a little bit hesitant, but 80% confidence. What about you?
Yeah, and she's a 3-point shooter, so just if she got a couple of 2 3 points here and a couple buckets, that'll be an easy clear for us. Her sweet spot seems to be right under that 12 marker, so that's why I'm kind of like, that's unfortunate that lines were adjusted before the taco options.
Yeah. Okay. So besides that, like we talked about, this game has blowout risk, but maybe a little less now that Elena's starting to get healthy. But I imagine Wheeler's not going to play her full run. Cloud, they juiced her assist up to 8, which I mean, she can still get it done, but I mean that's high. That's high for even NBA point guards. I mean, the one I would consider for her, if I wanted to target her, would be her 9.5 points as since a solo. She can still get it done in a blowout, or her 2.5 turnovers. Since Atlanta can be scrappy on defense, and Cloud does turn it over quite a bit when she tries to play make. And then I really like Donnie. They opened her at 14.5. And then she went all the way up to 16.5 points. I think they kept her fantasy the same though at 20. Oh no, it went up, didn't it? It was at 27, I believe.
Yeah, I really liked it at 27.
Yeah. And then her rebounds was at 5.5, and now it's at 6. I mean, all this got juiced. And then I really don't know with Donnie getting more healthy, and just Washington being more healthy, and just the risk of blowout. I don't know how I feel about Austin or Alicia Clark. I know Clark has been popular in Discord, and it seems like in chat right now too. What is your read on them?
Yeah, if I'm going to, I think any of the secondary pieces here for us, it's definitely not going to be Shakira. Atlanta, even with those players out, they're still pretty stout up front defense, and she's been having issues with just getting minutes and staying on the floor here. I don't mind Alicia Clark. I'll say her just her 3-point form has looked really great. I think honestly, her coming back from injury, she was just having a little bit of fatigue and trying to gel with the main starters here. But one thing that I'll really point out is her home road splits. Whenever they have Donnie back in with the main unit and when they're at home, she shoots almost lights out. And I don't know if that's, just specifically for the home crowd or just by chance, but so far this season, her home road splits have leaned way more in favor of being at home here. And PrizePicks really hasn't over adjusted any of her lines. I believe the other night she was only at 8.5 or maybe at an even 9. I think for her, honestly, anything under 10 or 11 is going to be in play, especially for this huge pace up matchup on Washington side.
So you like her points more than her PRA?
Yeah, I really like her points. She's just kind of a ghost sometimes with the rebounding. You could get it, but you could honestly even get there on just real points alone.
I agree with that. It's the same logic with the Cloud's points too. With it being so low, and if they're hitting their threes, they can still get it done in a blowout in limited minutes, less than 25 minutes playing time for both of them. I was trying to see. I don't see any other secondary, no bench players, no Elizabeth Williams. And then, are you thoughts on Donnie? I think she looked great. Her most recent game against Las Vegas, but that was a competitive game. Went to overtime. They lost by 1 point. Some more motivation there, incentive to play good. Here in this weaker matchup at home, heavy favorites. just feel like the motivation is not there for a veteran, and we see vets during the regular season kind of just when they're not motivated, just go 80%.
Yeah, and a lot of her games more recently, she's hit right at the prop line. I think outside of really her fantasy, a lot of her props have been either right on the margin or just under. Even whenever I believe she was a taco a couple weeks ago, and it was at like 15, and she just got there, and so I hate that they already adjusted her for a second time today or after the lines were posted. I think you could get there maybe with her PRA just because she's going to take a lot of 3-point attempts here and we'll probably have a couple extra open looks. But these lines are getting on up there and they're definitely not that comfortable of a click.
I agree. I think the lines are, right there. And then I guess one honorable mention for me, if you're not going to do Atkins taco, or if you want to do additional props to her taco, I was going to talk about her 1.5 block plus steal, with Atlanta being first in turnover percentage. So they're turning the ball over at the highest rate. I think a lot of that had to do with Wheeler being out, and Vrin being a rookie and trying to force things. So maybe it comes down a little bit, the turnovers, but I think it's definitely possible. But we've seen with steals and blocks and these scorekeepers not giving you credit for them. It's always stressful relying on scorekeepers. But yeah, earlier this season she cleared it, and then she missed it by 1 and got hooked in the most recent matchup. Just wanted to throw that one out there. Any others that we want to talk about for Washington?
Not really offhand. I don't know if the cloud assist one is too high for her potential, but kind of on the fence of either maybe her fantasy or her assist prop there.
You like
But I
her
do like
fantasy more than her points?
she's just, God, she's so annoying because she'll take like 1-3 in the entire first half and get 5 assists and then come out and shoot lights out in the second half and get right there at that assist line. I do like the turnovers, though. I really like the 2.5 turnovers.
Yeah, that one stuck out to me right away. Especially with Wheeler being back in the mix, to create boost the defense, the perimeter defense. Yeah, I mean, it looks like she hooked first matchup, and the most recent matchup she had 3. More often than not, I feel like she finishes with 3 turnovers every game. So, but yeah, I think people might be a little bit hesitant after that nightmare of Deanosaur getting stack corrected, turnover taken away last night.
That was so frustrating.
Hurt a lot of people. Okay, I'm gonna nominate her 2.5 turnovers, and then we're gonna say 20F fantasy and then 9.5 points. Oh wait, no, you wanted. That sits is so high, and just better stay close.
Yeah.
Are we missing anything else that I had marked? Have they given us free throw props? I noticed they didn't have any free throw props for Washington last night. Are you still holding out on that?
Yeah, we don't have any yet.
The reason I ask is Atlanta is allowing the most free throw attempts, so they're fouling at the highest rate. They're first in free throw attempts allowed. Wow, Cloud was 9 of 10 from the free throw line.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then the next game she had 0. It's all over the place. Keep an eye out for it. It does. I don't know. This being this late, it doesn't look like they're going to give us any. I think they're going to be. Linesmaker seems to be a little bit hesitant on free throws now. Not much data, or not much to go on of other prop lines out there. Okay. Before we move on to the next one and catch up with chat. Mike said, ready to put this losing crap behind me. I hear, man. Last night, that hurt. So close, yet so far. Blaine said PRA for Elena and Enrique. Okay. Yeah, we'll get to the Enrique next. Everyday said, welcome back, fam. No apologies needed, bro. We all love the kids. Let's get hunting. Hey, appreciate that, Everyday Fantasy. Really appreciate that. Michael said, Enrique's assists are hitting good. I've watched film, and lately teams have been double and trying to trap her, lead some more assist opportunities for teams. Yeah. It's really surprising. You're not wrong about that. Early this season, she had like no playmaking, no assists. And then, she's definitely adjusting to defenses. But she is shorthanded with her squad today. So Enrique seems to be the most popular talk of the town today. Rob said Enrique over PRA. Everyone's shouting out Underrated's intro song. Yeah, definitely check out Underrated's YouTube. That was an awesome intro song, man. Really appreciate that, Underrated. Corey said, really digging Atkins 1.5 block Castillo. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Just went over that. Jatoa said, Clark at 16.5 PRA looks solid. Yeah, Jatoa. Some of the people in the crew mentioned that. I think Aguida liked it as well. Guida said, I like the Rin under and Parker over rebound correlation. Yeah, makes sense. We never know with rebounds. When you try to figure it out, it's so random a lot of times. Flo said, Eric for MVP, fire movie.
Appreciate that.
Hit the like, fellas. All right, let's see. Matt said, great show, guys. I've enjoyed watching the WNBA shows since the NBA slowed down. Not to be that guy, but one quick helpful pronunciation detail. Rin is pronounced Ryan. Okay. Good to know.
Definitely, if we're pronouncing anything, incorrectly, I try to do my homework and listen to.
When I watch the games, I watch them on mute, so I don't hear what the commentators are calling them. Ryan Howard over rebounds been hitting for me, but now it's just way too high. Jitoho said, I like that Ryan under and Parker over rebounds might pair with Taco. All right. Lorenzo said, the Mystics reported said they will limit Donnie workload until the playoffs. Yeah, I it's a good point. I mean, I imagine 25 to 27 minutes usually. Probably going to be the most realistic range outcomes for her. Cowboy said Cloud Fantasy Locket. All right. Both Cowboy and Eric like Cloud's Fantasy.
Yeah, if you don't like her real points, I think you could maybe consider her fantasy.
Tom said with blowout potential, Alicia Clark, first half points, 4.5 or full game, 9.5. Let's take a look at our first half rotation real quick. My only concern is that, like, if Donnie comes out fresh in the first half and dominates the shot volume, that'd be my only reservation. Yeah, I mean, it looks like she's playing. Looks like at least this most recent game, she's played all her first half minutes alongside Donnie, except maybe like 1 to 2 minutes. Yeah, she's playing. Yeah, all her minutes. It's nice when you in the second quarter when you get starters that don't overlap, and so you can get a starter that once the primary usage person goes off the court for a decent amount of time in the second quarter, you can get some access with the minutes with them gone. But it looks like pretty much all of Clark's minutes are alongside her. Do you have a lean on the first half, or are you sticking with the full game?
Probably the full game. we're not really getting any kind of a tax break on the first half to the full game here. So just
Okay.
I think they're both definitely in play. I just worry about, like you said, with Donnie. She's usually the opening hot hand, or at least they're going to feed her the first couple of looks to open their first quarter run. Um, unless Clark really gets hot, kind of overlapping her, most of the time they're going to go for her that opening rotation, and then we're left with really the end of the first quarter and hoping in the second quarter for her to hit her shots.
Yep. All right, let's Mr. Williams said playing all unders tonight. PRA unders. I mean, these are the first game definitely has under potential for sure. Isaiah said WNBA tacos be sweat even when they're tacos. They need to just make a fantasy taco. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Okay, let's since we're crunch for time here, because we want to shoot to be done in probably like 30 minutes, give us enough time to build our final rank list and cards. This I think is the game. I know that the spread opened at -2 in favor of Minnesota, but I think it might be up to -3 now. But yeah, I mean, these are two pretty bad teams overall, and Dallas is really shorthanded. I think Dallas, if they weren't as shorthanded and missing key players like Sabby and Gray, might be favorites here. But yeah, we have Dallas coming into Minnesota. I think, it's 164.5 last time I looked for the implied total. So you get a much more healthy implied total here. It starts 1 hour later from the first game. I think there's a lot of key pieces we can take away from this one. Probably the one I'll have the most exposure to. We can start with Dallas, visiting team. Like I said, with Gray's out and Sabby's out, so Gray is probably hands down Dallas's best defender, especially on the perimeter. She racks up stocks and shuts down 3-point shooters a lot of times, and so that's a key piece gone. And she usually would fill the stat line too. I mean, she'd get it done scoring, get rebounds. So they're gonna have to pick up the slack here. And then Sabby was starting to become really efficient scoring, especially with the 3-point shooting. One thing that stuck out to me, I know Enrique is the most popular talk, but outside of her, since all her lines are super juiced, Mabry stood out to me. And I know she's a very streaky shooter. If her 3-point shot's not falling, it's going to be a rough night. But with Gray out and Sabby out, I just think she's going to have to get it done with the rebounding, with the scoring, and then maybe even playmaking too, because Enrique can't do it on her own. I'm debating between 3 of her props, but I'm leaning towards the PRA because I like a lot of her props. So I'm just going to combine them, and I think the 20.5 PRA stood out to me. They opened her at 3.5 rebounds, but then they bumped her to 4. 3.5 is really appealing. And then the other one, before I hand it off to you, that stood out to me was a lot of Thornton's props. I know she's going through a rough patch right now, but we just saw what Liz did, right? It happens in a natural ebb and flow of a season. They're gonna hit rough patches. Players aren't gonna play at the highest standard every game through an entire season. It's just her lines are so low relative to what she's done and is capable of, and especially with Gray out. I mean, her rebounding she's shown upside with that. I mean, she can clean the glass. 7.1 rebound average, and they have her prop at 4. And Gray, like I said, she accounts for a lot of rebounds, so that's definitely in play. I like that. And then they have her PRA all the way down to 11.5, which is just crazy. She averages 15 on the season. I think the lines maker just is looking at her recent 5-game history. I totally get it. She's not been efficient, and she's had weird rotations where the coach they don't let her close. So if you're worried about that, I think one thing we talked about, Eric, earlier today, I think you could get exposure to both in separate cards to hedge your bets. But if you go full game PRA and then you can go first half, hopefully they haven't changed it. PRA, you're getting a discount, slight discount, 0.5 PRA discount. Yeah, 0.5 discount. at 5.5. That's just so low. I mean, if she just gets, a couple of rebounds, assists, and bucket here or there, I can definitely see that. And then we talked about Isabel's rebounds as well. So curious to see what stood out to you if we're on the same targets here. I definitely think we want exposure to Dallas with them being so shorthanded.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is gonna be an interesting one for Dallas. Most of their games, almost over the last here 2 months now, they've all been at home. So this will be a first true road game for Dallas, and honestly, quite some time. They went to Atlanta a few weeks ago, but if, geologically, that's not that far away from Dallas, anyways. But they're actually going to be traveling up north here to Minnesota. So I'm really curious with this actual distance here and seeing the team take their first road game here. Are they going to stick to the same kind of look that we've had where Enrique pretty much runs the first half, or are we going to get one of these McCowan spike games and just kind of ruin everything for us? So there's a couple of game scripts that you can kind of play around with here. I think for me tonight, I'm going to be fairly off of most of Enrique's props.
Yeah.
I will give a slight nod to her 4.5 assists. Um, I think that's kind of in line with where her playmaking has been as of late, and just some of the finesse that she's had with the starters here. Her and Mabry clicking back with the starting unit while Satu's out. It's looked really well. They've kind of sucked at shooting in the last couple of games, but that's going to happen on teams when they go through a little bit of a slump here. Her lines are honestly at an all-time season high. So for me, Enrique, for the most part, not going to have too much of.
No.
But our rebounding, our overcorrections here with both Thornton and Bella, it's crazy. You and I were chopping this up earlier, but her first half PRA, in case you guys forgot, it was at 11 and 12 just a week ago, like
Mhm.
the first half, and now we're getting her full game at 11. That's just pretty crazy. So any given night, she can go out there and drop a couple threes. But I think for us today, you could definitely attack that first half PRA prop or the full game rebound prop. Feels really, really safe. Um, and then just kind of tack on one last little thing here. One of our guys, Cade, behind the scenes, he noted that whenever she is clearing her PRA prop, she has smashed her rebounding prop. So I think
Mhm.
for us playing that all into consideration here, rebound should be a smash play for the full game prop. Or if you want to go back to the well with the first half, that 5.5 PRA is perfect.
She's gonna cure most of her PRA from rebounding for sure. She doesn't take many shots, although in that not recent match, but the only time they played each other this season, she was super efficient and had 12 real points and 5 rebounds in just 14 minutes of playing time. So, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
Minnesota, right? I mean, the
it
Minnesota and
is.
Indiana are like the two worst defenses and the two teams that we always like to target um, with offensive players. So, yeah, more rebounds to go around and more scoring opportunity for with Gray out. Um,
Yeah, and also, whenever they met earlier on in the season, that was whenever Shepard was starting. So she actually saw the majority of Shepard for that game, and now we're gonna have her on Dantas, and she is gonna smoke her on defense.
okay. And then outside of Thornton, what do you like Isabel's 4.5 rebounds, or are you worried about her always being in foul trouble? I feel like she always has like 5 fouls.
Yeah, she's always in constant foul risk. She's our Egbo play, if you will, for this one. Um, I do like her 4.5 rebounds. I
Yeah.
think that's definitely going to be in play for us. And I actually didn't mind her 3.5 free throws. She's been going to the line a ton lately. She's especially with Gray being out, she's kind of turned into that cutter forward for the team that is
Mhm.
really attacking on the inside. And we've seen that, especially with the last two games with Gray being out. Her free throws and free throw attempts have been pretty crazy.
Yeah. I can find that with the close spread too. And then I think this is, like I said, I think this is setting up really nice for Mabry today.
She's due for a bounce back.
Due for bounce back. First time they played each other this season, she put up 22 real points, and that was with Dallas being fully healthy. And along those same lines, in support of this, Minnesota gives up the second most 3-pointers in the league, and that's her bread and butter. She's going to get most of her points from that. And like I said, she can get it done with her assists and rebounding too. She's averaging over 3 assists and over 3 rebounds per game. So do you have any confidence level in her that would let you have access and play her in some of your cards, or are you going to fade?
I think you could consider her 3 points made at 2.5.
Yeah.
Even probably her real points. It's not gonna be too far off from her 3-point prop, anyways.
Yeah.
I hate that they really taxed her PRA like heavily.
They did. That's a good point. The first thing that stood out to me last night, and I always say stick with your gut. The first thing that stood out to me was her 13.5 points. Besides when her rebounds opened at 3.5.
Yeah, I love that.
The 13.5 points stood out to me because I think it's Minnesota. I mean, we attacked him all day, every day.
Yeah, very soft on the long ball.
So I'm gonna go back and just keep the 13.5. They haven't adjusted those lines. Okay. Anyone else you wanna talk about McCown, or any other honorable mentions that were top plays here before we move to Minnesota?
Yeah, the only one for McCowan I'll say is I think her 6.5 rebounds could be in play. She's got a reasonable history versus Minnesota here, but some of that data is also with her starting and playing like actual heavy minutes, starter minutes. So I think the potential is there, but we just had a McCowan spike game, so she might need to cool off for another 2 games.
Yeah. Yeah, mid-tier probably. Because we're gonna we want access to Thornton's rebounds and Isabel's rebounds secondary to that. So, but yeah, it makes sense. Okay, let's
head to Minnesota.
Let's do Minnesota. Man, yeah, McBride. They opened her up last night at 14.5, and right away this morning she got juiced to 15.5. Definitely a prime spot for her. We've seen guards, especially guards like her, just torch Dallas. I still think she can clear it. I like it. It was one thing that stood out to me right away. But then I wanted to see what Powers points opened at. And it opened at a pretty favorable line, in my opinion. I know she's super inconsistent, not a great shooter, but she is just perfect for this matchup besides Sylvia, with Dallas being so weak in the interior, in the paint. And Powers, yeah, she'll shoot some threes here and there, but she's going to try to get it done with the mid-range and in the paint. So I liked her 11.5 points. And Minnesota is shorthanded too. So I definitely can consider that. And so, yeah, I'm obviously not going to play in the same card between her and McBride's points, but those are ones that stood out to me. And then we all know that Sylvia's back. She's played, 2 or 3 games since being back from her knee injury. And she's played, anywhere from 24 to 26 minutes.
Yeah,
if we expect
like mid-20s.
If we expect around the same amount of minutes, I think she can still get the fantasy done. They have her at 27.5. When she was playing about 32 minutes, she was averaging around 34. So she's almost a fantasy point per minute player. So if she can get 26 minutes, I think with how good of a matchup this is for her, I think it's not out of the realm of possibilities that she clears that 27.5. But it definitely feels like it's right there on the fringe for her, just due to the limited minutes you're really gonna need those blocks that she can rack up. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. You're not gonna get a normal Sylvia production today with just her being out for so long, coming back and getting her feet under her. Those are the ones that stood out to me, so I'm curious to see what you think. And then the last honorable mention I had that stood out was Shepard's 2.5 assists. I know she's coming off the bench now, but I want to dive into those numbers more and see how that's affecting her assist rate coming off the bench, and how much minute overlap does she have with Mariah and Powers.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see because some of her minutes for Shepard have really, we've seen it almost touch that 30-minute marker, and then some of the games that, she's had a really good performance, she'll play in these low 20 minutes here, and I think there is a lot of extra or a lot of opportunity that we could have there. But with Fowles really being back and now kind of being worked back into this, I would say honestly revitalized Minnesota team, because they were horrible. Oh man, they were so bad there for a while. And
Sure.
whatever happened, team came back. Fowles is back. Them being at home, I really love that for them. They have typically throughout the season played way better at home, and especially with their team back to their normal strength here. With all that being said, some of the players I think that I want to target today, I definitely have interest in Fowles just for her fantasy. She smashed Dallas, I think, for almost 50. Yeah, she had 44 and 44.8 earlier in the season. A lot of that was definitely to some stock upside there, but even in just this last game, she had 3 stocks in those limited minutes here. With Dallas being kind of an aggressive team, they're going to be attacking, look for a lot of opportunity here. Even with some of the 3-ball opportunity, the extra rebounding that they might have could lead to a couple extra steals here. So for her production and trying to have a really big turnaround for the season there, I do like Fowles. McBride, I'm a little bit on the fence about. I liked her points when they opened at earlier on the day, but
Yeah. But with Gray out, that's such a boost for her, right?
it is to some degree. She actually saw a lot more of Mabry on one-on-one coverage, so I kind of feel like we're getting the same game script here. She didn't do bad. She got a couple extra lucky shots in there, but she did get a few trips to the free throw line. So I do like your free throw call for that. I think her sweet spot honestly is right under 15. That's been kind of it. But with this three ball opportunity here, she could definitely light Dallas up like no problem.
Yeah, for sure.
I would shout out Mariah Jefferson, little revenge game here though.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on her today?
And it's like they're making you choose between her and Powers, like the very similar lines today. Their point props exact same.
Yeah.
And their PRA is the exact same. And their fantasy is pretty much the same. I mean, it makes sense because their contributions are very similar in terms of their averages in the season. I'll probably have exposure to both in separate cards if I was going to do it and just hedge my bet, because I feel like one of them's going to get it done in this matchup. So
yeah, absolutely.
And I just think with how much they have Powers PRA juiced and Jefferson's, I probably would just stick with the points. Did you have any other lean for them?
Not too many. There's just so many mouths to feed right now for Minnesota, and outside of really just, I would say McBride, Fowles, and Shepard coming off the bench, there's kind of a question mark on who's going to be the hot hand for the night. And with some of these pieces, I don't think that I'm going to have that much of a comfortable click going to anybody with a lot of confidence. But some of these, McBride, her turnovers there, some of their turnover and free throw props are fairly low for what we're going to see here in this matchup.
Yeah. Oh wow. So they juiced her Mariah's assist, didn't it? I think it opened at 5. Oh no, it was 5.5. Okay. I mean, man, if that was at 4.5, I would smash over on that because with Shepard being on the bench now, I mean Mariah, I mean she's pretty much the only playmaker on the court and then with the starting unit.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
had
but I
a-
mean, they're like the Toronto Raptors, where like one of the worst team assist rate in the league, where lowest the amount of assists on the season. So as a
yeah.
team, do you have any? I mean, you think that's too high? The 5.5?
It's getting up there for her. I think with honestly fouls coming back, her having the ability to create and drive for her own shots, that is going to eat into just a little bit. And we've seen, just the last 2 games specifically, she's missed that with fouls being back. So that's going to give me a little concern there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just we've known all season how weak Dallas is in the interior. So yeah, definitely want to attack him in the paint. I think totally with you. Fouls being primary target for fantasy, and then you could get some exposure to Mariah or Powers for their points or fantasy.
Yeah, I'm with that.
All right. Before I catch up with chat, did I add? I'll do honorable mention Shepard 2.5 assists. If you wanted to pair that with one of these
Any of the
point
guards. Hmm.
one of these point props, because I mean she's gonna have some overlap with Jefferson and Powers, even though she's coming off the bench. Yeah, she definitely has overlap with them. Definitely, most recent game it seems like it more so with Jefferson. It's mixed in with Powers too. Okay, I like that correlation. It's a low number there for tempting, but it definitely has potential to hook. Okay. Before we do the team card and we get out of here, let's catch up with chat. Aguita said going under on Enrique PRA. Man, it's high. It's high, but it's Minnesota. But I feel you. Flo said Eric, favorite 2 pick. He'll give those when we do our team card. Cowboy, Sabrina PRA. Okay. Is that your gut call? Is that your play of the day, Cowboy?
Who did he say?
Thornton 4 rebounds seems way low. Underrated said. I agree. Cowboy said McCown a beast tonight though, and the Lynx are weak against guards. Yeah. Love the Mabry PRA confirmation. All right. That's your girl, Cowboy. You're in your ring of girls. George said Dantas is so fine. She's hit the over fantasy score in my head for the last week. Got it. Hey, and we have no bots today.
Yep, not yet.
Corey said digging Harris assist. Harrison?
Ty Harris.
Oh, yeah, Ty Harris. Cowboys said Powers, PRA fantasy. I like her today, man. Yeah, PRA is a little high though. Zach said, "How are you feeling about this Atkins taco?" Like I said, I'm probably 80% confident. Just the blowout risk has me concerned, and whenever Donnie's playing, it can hurt her potential. Exit screaming, "It's Atkins the last taco of the day." Did they have 2 tacos already? Did MLB?
No, this is only the second one.
So is the last one going to be some other weird, like
It'll probably
KBO?
be esports or something.
Yeah. Zach Rubb said Ryan's points just went up on underdog. Definitely going under now. There you go. All right, let's do our team cards so we can get out of here and build some enter some cards and fine tune our rank list, our top 10. All right.
I don't remember who let it off yesterday or who's going today.
It doesn't matter.
All right. Gotta go with Thornton for rebounds. I think that's one of our core plays.
She's one of my core plays too. So that's good. You took it from me, but it's all better sign that we both like it that much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick with my gut from last night, and I'm gonna go with Mabry's 13.5 points.
I'm with it. They don't cut into each other, so we got good correlation.
We got Atlanta props, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Christy Wallace is at 6.5.
And Wheeler looks like she's gonna be back. Whew. We got some strong unders to consider, I think.
Coming off injury, the 22 fantasy.
Yeah.
I mean, if Chrissy was in concussion protocol, so she's playing, she's full go, so she should be okay.
Yeah, it looks like they gave us a couple appealing lines for the injury returning players, but McDonald, they adjusted her fantasy down to 21.5. I don't think we're going to get many peripheral stats from Atlanta. Gave us Wheeler assist. That's interesting. It's kind of high for her.
Yeah. What's up with that? Huh. Bad matchup too.
Yeah, this will definitely have to chop up a little bit more here.
Yeah. Okay. Your turn.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna go with. Man, this is a toughie. I think Howard under rebounds. I still like that play.
I thought you were gonna go with Fouls fantasy. We can build one more card.
Do you like the Howard under rebounds or the PRA?
Now that Christy and Wheeler are back, I can get behind the rebounds because they'll soak up boards.
Okay, let's do it then.
Okay. So we'll do 2 team cards here because I want exposure to some more of these Dallas, Minnesota players because I want Powers, I want Jefferson, and I also like the idea of pairing it with Shepard. But we got to get Sylvia in this first one if we're only going to play one Minnesota player in this card. All right, this is card 1. We'll do it for 20,000. All right, and then second card that we did not have exposure to, that we other players we liked. They give the community some variety here.
Yeah, let's go with. I think Cloud 2.5 turnovers. We really liked that one earlier.
Yep. All these turnover props are tempting, like even Mabry's. Okay. I'm going Powers.
Powers real points? Okay. Let's see. Man, it's a tough sledding on this one. I think I'm gonna go with. I like Atkins, her 2 stocks or 1.5 stocks.
Nice. We all like that. I like that. And I'm going to go with, for the last one, I'm going to go with Thornton's 11.5 PRA. And we'll call it /5.5 first half PRA. Because I think you could play in one card, play her full, and then to hedge it, play her first half in another separate card. Because, like I said, a lot of times she will play less minutes in the second half, especially the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you could probably just click both of them up there. That way they can interchange whichever.
I was going to do that, or if we wanted honorable mention for a 5th pick, it would be one that we both, I'm trying to think, there was one we both liked that we left out in both cards, I feel like. Parker's 5.5 rebounds. So it was more mid. Yeah. Okay. I'll just do the. All right.
We could go with a free throw prop. I mean, you mentioned you like some of those.
Did they give us any more?
Not yet. I don't think we're gonna get honestly many or anymore. But those are. I don't like Ryan's too much, but the other 3 I think are right there in line.
Okay. Yeah. All 3 of these I think you can get behind. Especially McBride. She's gets the free throw line a lot. And you're calling Isabel too.
Oh, Raj, shout out in chat there. Rike assists. What about maybe that?
Yeah, you like that too. We can put that as a 5th. Instead of having Thornton there on there twice. And people who are listening, they know that we like Thornton's first half and full game PRA.
I like it. Betting for $1 million.
2 million. Yeah, and then I think, like I said, another card you could go with Thornton's first half PRA, and then in that card you can maybe switch it up and do Jefferson's points instead of Powers, because we liked both of them in this matchup. It's just tough calling between the two since the lines are like spot on the same. I think you could go something like that. We'll just call this like 2B.
Yeah, I like this.
There you go. All right, guys.
Different narratives.
Yeah. All right. We got we got about 40 minutes to hash this up, and we have an hour gap between the first game and the second game, so you definitely find, I feel like, enough plays for the second game if you just wanted to play a single game card for that one. Give yourself more time.
For sure.
Tom said, no Errol Atkins 10.5 point taco anywhere. Oh, yeah. I mean, we just figure everyone's going to play that. So we wanted to just give more options, provide more ideas that you guys might want to take one player or two players from our core plays here, and you can mix it in with the tacos.
Yeah, it's a good taco, though. Yes.
Raj, what do you guys think is the biggest lock for today? Is this the same Raj from our group?
I don't know. I was going to go back and look at that, actually.
The biggest lock for today. For me, it's probably Thornton's PRA or rebound. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, Thornton, definitely.
All right. Cool, guys. We will be back tomorrow with a special stream with Gunn, if he's still down for that. I think we talked about, what do we say? 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah, I think so. It was going to be a little bit later than usual.
Because I think tomorrow, so tomorrow's weird. Real quick before we let you go, tomorrow we have an early game starting at 12 p.m. Eastern, and then the other two games start later than normal.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's a super early game.
Yeah, so and yeah, it's not the most ideal games. Two really good teams going at it. Rematch of what, like the finals last year or the semifinals?
The semis, yeah.
Yeah, and then we get a rematch from yesterday, Indiana and Phoenix. If Deanna Sor can hit 7 threes again, and then we have Las Vegas and Seattle. That should be a great game because we have Tina Charles' debut for Seattle, and we know Las Vegas is a stout team as well. Two very good teams that are probably gonna go deep in the playoffs. Both those games start at 10 p.m. Eastern, and then, like I said, you have the 12 p.m. Eastern early game. So we have plenty of time to chop things up and hopefully have some good laughs if Gunn decides to actually host the show. Give me more time to break down the games with Eric. So we'll keep you posted on that. It should be about 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern. Figure that we'll lock that in before the night's over and let you guys know. Join our Discord down below. The link's down below in the YouTube. It's free, and we're always chopping things up together as a team, trying to take down PrizePicks, and now trying to get in the head of this new lines maker. Yeah, let's get a bounce back today. Feeling good. If not, tomorrow also looks good. So if you want to hold out with your free $5,000 promo or whatever, tomorrow looks really good. I think you can get a lot of pieces from two of those late games. So something to consider and take in mind. Anything else you got, Eric, before we go?
No, that's going to be about it. If you guys haven't checked out my video for today, just head over to Eric's Prop Stop. It's just a quick, I think, 8-minute video. You going to be chopping it up in voice chat as well?
Yeah. I'll be there.
Sweet. All right. Well, good luck out there tonight, and see y'all shortly.
All right. See you guys.
Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him at the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. You watching Contact. You can thank him, man. About to go big. Kill him at the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him at the PrizePicks. 24/7 researching, it's all a fantasy. But if I make the right plays, it pays automatically. Bankroll showing that I know it, dope strategy. On a winning streak, I'm stacking a dose of the bookies, all get mad at me. Confident with how it plays, not clicking on a flex today. 10 times the money, and we all about to get paid. Eric and Josh on the stream, they be killing it. Never gonna stop it, they like if you feeling it. Digging the players, they all never stop. You can't make up your mind and just go with your gut. Fantasize and Sasha Cloud. Gabby Williams said, watch your mouth. Day 1 and day 2, I played the over, they come through. Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, pick them both, we stacking them. Going big to the maximum, just push submit, we cash professional. Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. You watching Contact? You can thank him next. Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. We about to go big.
This is the game.
You watching Contact?
Let's get hunting.
You can thank him next. We about to go big.